Tyler and I were talking. We decided we should just click the record button because might as well.
Because everybody wants to just listen to us ramble.
I
So
know exactly. That's the whole point. But this is getting to know us. For those of you who have not enjoyed in the Masset Journal, Masset Journal is Tyler and I. We're building our SaaS company in public, and we're taking you along for the ride. We try to do pretty irregular updates. It's been a while. I'd say 3-4 weeks since we've posted. So we wanted to make sure we had a discussion and give everyone updates on our end. You have a couple things. I have something I want to pick your brain on and get real-time reactions. So do you want to go first or do you want me to go
yeah,
first?
I'll go first. Yeah, it's kind of
Okay.
hard to find sometimes content for these because it is just kind of journal update. When we go heads down, like I've been heads down on SOC 2 and security for like a month now. And it's like, all right, still doing that, but it is important. We did hit a big milestone this week. We are now 100% compliant with the AWS Foundation's recommendations for best practices. That's a fun little one that ticks. There's like 400 controls. So it's not strictly required for SOC 2, but it's one of those things that we're actually are trying to increase our security, not just do SOC 2. So that was a fun thing. We kind of set ourselves as a baseline. We wanted to do that. So we are now officially 100% compliant with that, which is a fun checkbox to mark. Just
I'm
for
totally putting that on our
comparison,
website in the security banner.
it
So
probably is
just
worth it.
fair
Like,
warning.
yeah, well, as a comparison, it's like I've been at some pretty large companies that were not 100% compliant with the AWS foundational best practices. So it's a pretty big achievement. I'm going to probably write up a blog post about it. It was a really fun adventure. Like, anyway, I'll write up a post about it because it's better in long form. But generally, if you're hosting something and you're trying to do that, it's like 1,000% increased in your costs to to check all of those boxes, man. AWS's best practices are like, hey, turn on all of these things that we give you, and their best practice obviously is so they can get more money on it as well. But like, it's some good security stuff too. But I'm gonna kind of write up this funny blog post about it. But it's fun to go through all of that. But so that was a big step we hit as well.
Good job.
I
That's freaking
also
awesome.
Another fun thing for customers that are listening, we're going to have customizable sessions here releasing probably early next week. So some of our customers are like, I would say the Masset doesn't necessarily deal with like super like sensitive data. It's mostly data that people want public anyway, right? And so it's not like that, but we do have a few customers that are more sensitive in some of the data. So we're going to allow things like 15-minute activity timeouts, and customizable, because some of our customers want it much higher than that. So you'll be able to customize that as a customer. So that'll be a fun little thing as well.
Love it. That's freaking
So we're
sweet.
plowing full speed ahead to get the SOC 2 report done by end of month. So that's still where a lot of our focus is.
Love it. That's so cool. Awesome. All right. UK, if I do a curveball one.
Yeah, do a curveball. Then I got some
Yeah.
curveballs for you. I think some fun stuff to talk about.
Well, you've got more curveballs?
Those were curveballs. Those were just announcements, man. Those were just things I've been working on.
Those are dope. Okay, I'm going to share my screen even on this one, maybe.
This is a first, sharing the screen on the
We've done it.
podcast.
Oh, I don't think we have. So have you ever heard of Beehive?
Yeah.
So this is a newsletter company. They just came out recently with a full website builder on top of
Oh,
it.
interesting. Okay.
So I have been, as an experiment, playing around with what a website in a newsletter platform would look like. So here's the thought process that I've come to as I don't want to go down this rabbit hole because we've talked a lot about it, but the whole AI outreach and impersonating people, I just don't love it. Like, I think that AI should recognize, not AI. I think that when we are doing outreach using AI, that we should acknowledge that it's AI reaching out in someone's behalf instead of trying to impersonate that person. I feel like there's more authenticity that way. But through that whole process, like, cold emails are getting really rough, cold LinkedIn outreach, cold calling. Nobody wants that. I don't want to do it. Nobody wants to receive it. No one picks them up. Like, we've done it in hordes. Stuff doesn't work. We've talked about it on here before. It just doesn't work. So
Sorry, I'm going to cut you off just for a second because
yeah.
I just had vacation this last week, and on the vacation I met up with a friend of a friend, and he didn't know what I was doing. He doesn't know I'm a technical co-founder or anything, and so he he asked me, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm building marketing software. Some people just don't understand what marketing software is. And his first reaction, I thought that was very timely to what we've talked about in the past, is like, his first reaction was like, oh, geez, you're one of those people that lets people just hound me all the time. He's like, I get so much email and I get so many calls. I can't even use my phone or my email anymore. He's like, I hate companies like yours. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me step this back a little bit. But it's like, that's it, like, to your point, like, public opinion is very quickly shifting towards away from cold emails and cold calls because people do not like them. So anyway, funny
Nobody wants
interjection.
them. So, and I love that, because we're in the same boat. So I have looked extra hard at all of the 100% owned channels because, you think about borrowed channels, all your social media and all that kind of stuff. There's algorithms, right? Like you have to play their games. And then that's where people start writing like daily posts on LinkedIn just to appease the algorithm, saying things that, like the whole reason AI exists on LinkedIn is because I'm too lazy to write content every day. And I don't genuinely probably have unique thoughts to say every single day. So AI will do it. And now it's kind of like, now I'm running into so many posts that are just garbage posts because AI is just posting it. And then all the comments are like, everyone's trying to game these systems. So I was like, okay, I'm nervous about any borrowed platform when it comes to long-term sustainable growth. So looking at newsletter is like the purest form. Your website, you own it. That's the purest form of an own channel. Same with newsletters. Same with podcasts, oddly enough. I mean, we do post on YouTube for podcasts and that has its algorithm, but the actual podcast platforms, there's Spotify's and Apple, like there's not really an algorithm to
Yeah,
like
it's not.
not show
I
you
mean,
an
it's curated. The
episode.
top ones are curated, but you're really building your own audience there, right? It's more of a
Yeah, I
distribution
mean,
platform.
exactly. But it's hard to like build an audience on podcast platforms like YouTube. You can do it. LinkedIn, you can kind of do it because of the algorithms. And I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. So what I decided is, can we potentially use this newsletter platform where the whole point is every time we post any piece of content, people are subscribing to our content through a newsletter. They're actually saying, I like your content. I want to receive more of it. I want to hear from you. And they're opting into that communication. And we can actually just host all of it on a newsletter platform. And this platform does a lot of cool stuff. We are not sponsored by them. But they allow you to organically grow within their network and all that kind of fun stuff. And there's a lot of really cool features. So kind of been playing, with some stuff and some messaging just to kind of see if this is a better long-term play for us
Yeah, I mean, we're currently using
and all
Webform,
that.
right? We're currently using
Webflow.
Webform for. Well, sorry, yeah, Webflow. Yeah, currently using Webflow for all of our website hosting stuff. Like, what benefits do you or downsides do you think this versus that?
Yeah, Webflow is a much better design tool. Like if you want pixel level kind of design stuff, you do it there. What's interesting about this system is it's a email. So they're kind of two different platforms. Webflow is 100% an online website builder. Like
Yeah,
that's who they are through and through. Beehive is a newsletter platform that has just built in a website platform. And and this is the hypothesis, that's why I'm testing. I have no idea if this makes sense for us. I have not gotten rid of the old website or any of that kind of stuff. But the
yeah,
idea would be that the website is, every email newsletter is a blog post inside of this platform. So you can read it and consume it on the web. You're not duplicating content over into it. If you want to do newsletters, you just write really good content and then you send that out as your newsletter. You can do all sorts of audience segmentation, all sorts of growth. People can opt into different kinds of content from your business. So, you look at the various levels of the funnel. Someone here could say, yeah, just shoot me content, the content amplified podcast material. That's all I really care about. Or, yeah, I want product updates about Masset, or I want Masset Journal updates. I can subscribe to just that component of the content. And then that's everything that's filling out the content of the website on a regular basis is what we're publishing. So that's kind of, with SEO being weird as well, I guess my question is like, I feel like newsletters are going to be more important because you're going to build your own audience of people that do want to consume your content. and you don't have to rely as much on large language models and search engines to have people find that content. And then you're only writing content in a way to be consumed and not in a way to have LLMs and SEO engines consume them. You're
Yeah.
really focused on the reading experience because the majority of your views are going to actually come from people subscribed to your content.
Yeah, it pushes it towards actually good content instead of optimizing your content so then the algorithm can read it, right? Which is how most of the SEO and algorithmic world has been for the last 10 years.
Yeah. So that's
I
kind of
like
the
it.
experiment. Yeah. And then I've done a lot with messaging, content chaos. It seems to be something that really resonates with our audience, and then really proving like how bad it's affecting your business. And so really talking like what's the actual cost of content chaos. And you would have specific really long posts about, with all the homework that we've done and that other people have done about, hey, here's all the inefficiencies. It's like 1.9 hours a day per person in your go-to-market team is spent searching for the right things internally. Like that's a lot of wasted time
Yeah.
in an organization. That adds up. You also look at the lack of close rates and all sorts of stuff. So we would have specific posts about those in that section. We could talk about our features, but all of it would be like almost kind of newsletter style stuff. And then I love this idea. I'm for sure doing this. Tyler, I hope you don't mind because I like him 1,000% sold on this idea. Every time we have a customer that has like amazing news, like Awardco is a client of ours that just raised 165 million, they became a unicorn, 1,000%, we're going to brag about them on our website. Like I'm
Put Job
so
Nimbus
into
up
that.
there too, man.
No, I only have one post so far. I'm experimenting.
Good
Job
move,
Nimbus
man.
is the next one. They raised like $350 million. But,
Yeah.
I already have AI like constantly scouring the web for any news from any of our clients. And as soon as there's something newsworthy, like we want to tout them, we want to link to them, we'll help them with their link juice and all that fun stuff. It's just, rooting for our customers. They're freaking sweet. And I think that will be a cool section of the website. So
Yeah.
there's
That's awesome.
my experiment that I've played
love
around
it.
with a little bit.
That's a great experiment. Coming
So,
to a getmasset.com webpage soon.
yeah. I mean, genuine thoughts. Should we explore that or should I throw that in the trash bin?
Oh man, it's an interesting. I think one thing I think that we always try and do is experiment, right? Like we don't proclaim to have any answers. I think this fits in the same bucket. Let's try it, see how it looks, see how it works, and see how it's going forward. But
Yeah. With a brand new builder, I kind of like to feel like I could make an assessment. I had to
had to
say,
be able to
okay,
play
can
with
I
it, right?
build it? Can I do what I need to do with it?
Yeah.
Kind of an idea. So the verdict's still out.
Well, cool. So I don't know if you've ever watched the hacker news, or not the hacker news, what are the Y Combinator like podcasts or whatever. They always do this like question thing. And I think that one thing that I think that we add in value here is just the two of us being so early is like talking about some of our experience that we have as just being founders, right? And kind of going through it. I don't think we always have lessons learned every week, but I think that having like lessons learned reviewed. So one thing I was going to just throw a random question out. We were talking about vacation time earlier. How do you, and I'll answer this question too, maybe, how do you balance the ability to take vacation time as a co-founder, right? Like, and how do you balance that? How are you able to make it work? How are you able to not make it work? What struggles have you had? What things have you found that work or don't work in doing that? Because other co-founders that are on this journey, I'm sure have struggled with that question before. So I'm gonna pose that one to you.
It's a good question. I think it's a valid concern. I'm going to butcher the quote. But the quote was like, it's so cool to have the flexibility to be a founder. You get to pick which 12 hours a day you get to work, kind of an idea. And I'm never actually concerned, even with vacations, about getting enough hours in the
Yeah.
day. Just it's kind of how the two of us are built. It's one of those things where my hobby and everything is the company. Now, obviously, my family comes first, and if they need something, that's great, and that's part of the reason we're remote is flexibility. right? But with the flexibility gives me opportunity after kids go to bed to go back to work, or wake up early in the morning and cross the hall and go back to work and do all that kind of stuff. So for me, I think the flexibility is necessary. I think that entrepreneurship is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And I think a lot of people burn out. And I think it's a disservice to our customers, our investors, and ourselves if we let ourselves burn out. And I think vacations are great ways to do that. The other thing I will also say is I think sitting in front of a computer is the worst place in the world to generate new and genuine ideas for a business. So even going on a walk or going camping or being unplugged for 24 hours, there's just something that happens with our brains where it can start to relax and start to solve problems that we just haven't given it the capacity to do in the past. And every single time I step away from work, I find that my brain is always working on it and I come back with new and fresh ideas. That's where this whole newsletter concept came from was, hey, wait a minute, what if we just focused 100% on own channels and stopped playing games with, other algorithms, and looking into that saying, oh, suck, like there is a possibility. Why don't we go play with that and see what we can do to build up a subscriber network, and things like that. So that's my 2 cents. Like, I feel like it's actually good for the business. And I think that it's a lie for anyone saying it's not, like, because you can only stare at a screen for so long and be productive, to be honest. Like, your brain has to take time away in meaningful chunks, or else your capacity to do your job in a good way. And we're small. Like, we want to be small. We have to take big swings at big opportunities. And those do not come from me staring at my screen and getting everything done on my Asana list or answering every email. That comes from saying what's a massive problem and what's a unique way of solving it without headcount and going after it that way. So those are my 2 cents. What's your answer?
No, I think it's kind of the same thing. I think we've always said, first of all, it's important, right? I don't want to quantify it solely on vacation time, but like time away, time off, time to detox, I think is just that way. One thing I've been thinking about, I have a couple of things that I've been thinking about, but like to your point of like, if you're going to be a co-founder and you're going to be going on that journey, right? Like it's a lot of hard work. It's going to be a grind, it's going to be a push, and that's what you feel a lot of times. But there's a lot of flexibility and positives as well, but they don't come naturally unless you choose to participate in them. If that makes sense. Like you said, like I could choose to sit at my desk from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every single day, which I don't start that early. I start a little bit later than that. But if I did that, I would still probably end up working nights and weekends anyway. Right? It's like, and so what I have to remind myself is like, as a co-founder and as somebody in an early stage business, you have the flexibility to make those types of choices. And you may be getting paid less, you may be getting less vacation time off, you might be working harder, doing more grind. So make the active choice to participate in the positives that you do get from being a co-founder, from having the ability to be ultimately flexible with your time about when and where and how you spend your time, things like that. Because the amount of time may not be flexible, it's just you're working hard, right? But how you spend that time and what you focus on, you can change. So it's like, don't take the negatives of both sides of that equation. Like, choose to take the positives of one of them, right? Um, the other thing I was thinking of is like, for me on the technical side of thing, it's all about automation, right? Like, it's really hard for me to step away from a technical problem or just our platform in general, because when it comes down to it, like it's me, right, on the technical side of things right now. So when alerts are firing or things are going off, or you'll have a system that's falling apart, then it's hard to get away because you're always constantly getting pinged, reminded, whatever it is. So if you're a technical co-founder and you're struggling to find ways to get away and you just feel like you're drowning in noise, take some time to invest in your platform, to automate resolutions, to automate alerting and monitoring and things like that, so that you can focus. The way I'd say it is like, if you're getting alerted 10 times a day while you are working, those 10 alerts are going to be there when you try and take time off, and it's going to be really hard to step away. So try and get it to a point where like you in any given workday are not getting interrupted by your alerts and your monitoring in your system. Get your systems to that point. Then it becomes easier to step away and feel confident that things are going to be okay while you're away. Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I love
thankfully,
that.
our platform is, we've been building it from the ground up to be that way. So thankfully it doesn't cause that much problems for us, except, when the internet goes down like yesterday, where Google Cloud went down and Cloudflare went down at the same time. I was
Oh,
like,
I
oh
did a
boy,
demo and
this
had
is
to.
fun.
I'm grateful you let me know that, because I did a demo and one of our features wasn't working because of that. I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, this is why.
I always feel okay when it goes down and half the internet is down. It's like, okay, I don't feel as bad.
When you got
But
OpenAI saying, "Hey, this is broken," I don't feel bad.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, and I mean honestly, I mean we're already at 20 minutes, so I'm a little hesitant to open this of worms, can of jar. Man, that's a Friday afternoon thought.
We can do it for another
I
week too. I think we should just do these questions, like our
yeah,
perspective on founding a company every week.
I agree. I mean, honestly, I think it's about also keeping your humanity. Like, my family's more important than Masset. Your family's more important than Masset. Like, and I mean, I wrote a really long LinkedIn post for some reason about the things that's happened to me. Like, as a founder, as a part of this company, I've lost a son. I lost my father to a tragic accident. Like, I've gone through like brutal times. You've gone through brutal times.
Yeah, in the history of
And
Masset, we're gonna have to write a couple chapters that are pretty gruesome, that are pretty
yeah,
bad.
lots
But
of tears, lots of stuff. And honestly, through I think every one of those challenges, you kind of start to appreciate humanity a little bit more, and like your family and what matters the most. And like, yes, I'm putting every ounce of my being into this company to make it work, but I refuse to sacrifice the things that matter the most, right? Because Masset means freaking nothing to anyone if it doesn't bring along our families and the people we love and care about. And taking the time to care about the people we work with. Like, we spend a lot of time with customers. Like, one of the reasons I want to tout our customers is because they are amazing. Like,
and they
we
deserve the
want to,
recognition for being amazing.
yeah, they are absolutely amazing. And we're going to root for them. And we hope they root for us. And they have in a big way. And, I just think there's a lot about having humanity and having the why behind what you're doing. And honestly, without my family, there is no why. And I think spending time with them to remember that is important. Like, wanting what's best for them is the most motivating factor to get up or stay late or work weekends or do whatever. It's for them. It's for that experience. And I think sometimes people lose sight of that, and the company becomes the why. The company is not the why. Like, we're a cool company, don't get me wrong. Masset's awesome. It's going to be around for a long time, we hope, but our families are more important. Like,
Scratch the "we hope" on there, dude. It's gonna be around for a long time.
it's true. I used to correct you on that, so I love it. It's coming back, but it's about people. Like, and we care about our customers. We care about our families. We care about our own, health and well-being. And I don't think, even though it's a software platform, we're here to serve people and make their lives less chaotic, have more satisfaction with their job, use content in more meaningful ways, and do things the right way so they can have satisfaction and joy in their careers and lives. And that's what it all comes down to. Like, we're solving a big headache that almost everyone we talk to experiences. And so that's the whole point, is to make people's lives better. And that doesn't stop with us. It has to be everyone around us. So that's an
Love
extra
it.
2 cents about it.
Great. Love it. Well, we wrap up there for today.
Let's do it. It's a date night. I'm just going on a date night here in the next little bit, so I got to head off. Everyone, thank you for watching. You might be subscribed to a newsletter in the near future for all of this stuff. You might not be. So we'll see how that experiment goes. If anyone ever has input, feedback, or ideas, we're always happy to receive it. We're on LinkedIn. We're on places you can get a hold of us. There's no way I'm going to share my email address on an open platform, but I'm sure if you're looking, you can write a comment
You
somewhere
can
and
find it.
and get a hold of us. All right, Tyler, you're a rock star, and Everyone have a good week.
See you next week.
I almost pushed the wrong button.